Welcome everyone to our Let's Discuss Clean Update webinar presented by Ronan Cashel, one of our Senior Solutions Architects here at Runner, and moderated by me, Misty, the Customer Success Manager here at Runner EDQ. So we do want to let you all know that all participants are muted upon entering the webinar. If you have any questions during the presentation, please submit them via chat, and all questions will be answered in the order they were received once the presentation is completed. Now I'm going to hand it over to Ronan to kick off the webinar, starting with an agenda of what will be covered in today's webinar. Take it away, Ronan.
Thank you, Misty. Hello, everybody. So today I've just put together a quick agenda of what we're going to talk about. So I'll give a brief overview of what Clean Update is. We'll also go through how does it work. We'll look at some of the features that are available in the Clean Update utility. And finally, I'll give a live demo before heading back for a questions and answer session. So what is Clean Update? I think most of you are aware of the current process, which is you receive an email with links and passwords. You download the files, you then use the passwords to extract the information, and then you push that to the relevant locations. Clean Update is simply a utility that is going to automate that process. We've also looked at the back-end processing, and we have worked to make sure that we're going to get more consistent releases by putting in checks and things like that. Okay, so how does Clean Update work? Central to everything is a license key. So the license key is going to be linked and associated with a platform, and also a list of products or packages that you're entitled to. The license key is going to be validated at our backend, and every time you run the Clean Update utility, it's going to send the license key so that we can make sure that we follow the entitlements and send and deliver to you what you're entitled to. The first time you run the Clean Update, we're going to be prompting you for your environment setup. So things like your clean address home and your data files. When you go to run the Clean Update, it's going to communicate with our server, passing the license key and the products that you have installed and the current versions, so that we can cross-check that with what we have in our database of releases and find you the latest release to be delivered to you for your particular platform. So again, it means no more manual downloads and no more searching around for passwords. Just a little note here, we do keep a local database or registry of what has been installed on your own server, okay? And this is needed so that when you communicate with us, you're passing not only the products, but the versions that you have installed. And with this information, we can get you the latest releases for those particular packages. Okay, features of Clean Update. So first and foremost, it's about downloading, extracting the files, and moving them to their respective locations on your server. One additional feature that we've added in is a backup, which allows a backup to be taken. So this is simply zipping all of the contents in the bin and the data files and storing them. Okay, we also offer, when we perform the Clean Update, the opportunity of downloading the update and installing it at the same time, or alternatively, you can simply download and then run a separate process at a later time to install those. Okay, we've also introduced a smart caching mechanism Okay, and by that, what I mean is if you have downloaded the file, so an update to your package, a package update, and it's been installed in the downloads folder, if you go and attempt to install that later on, we are going to be checking again to make sure that you have the latest release. With that information, we then cross-check that with what we have in our downloads folder. And if that file matches, that's the one that we're going to use. So we don't re-download the package again. Okay. Clean Update is always going to keep you on the latest versions of Clean Address Core and the data files. We don't offer the capabilities of downloading previous versions. It's always focused on moving forward. One of the advantages of using Clean Updates is because we're, okay, the current package that is sent out to you has all of the components installed, all the binaries for both 32-bit and 64-bit. As a result, the overall package is very, very big. Because we have broken everything down into packages and entitlements, we're only going to deliver to you the packages that you're entitled to. So this should substantially reduce the amount that you're downloading each month or each 2 months. The Clean Update utility it's a command line utility. As a result, it's actually quite easy to integrate this into any scheduler. Okay, so technical highlights. Clean Update is only available on Linux 64-bit and Windows 64-bit platforms. It also only supports Clean Address 64-bit versions of the software. Through some of the discussions with some of our customers, what we have discovered is they are on 64-bit platforms, but they're running the 32-bit version of Clean Address. So that configuration is not supported by Clean Update. Okay, we are currently on 5.15 of Clean Address Core. So this is the only version or 5.15 or higher that's going to be supported with Clean Address, with Clean Update. A question that we have received from a few of our customers is, what about proxy support? There is no proxy support at the moment with the Clean Update utility. In terms of the requests, we send requests, or the Clean Update client is going to send requests out to cleanupdate.runneredq.com and to S3 Amazon AWS.com. So because these are outbound requests, they're far safer than requests being pushed to your server. Okay, currently your licenses are linked with your platform type, whether it's Linux or it's Windows. Okay, what does that mean? It means that if you're running a dev, a test, and a production environment, that one license key for Clean Update will work on all 3 platforms. You don't need to request 3 individual licenses for that. A special note, no data is captured on EDQ server about your setup, the components you've installed, and the versions. We only use the information to cross-check with our database of releases to make sure that we give you the latest updates so that these get downloaded and installed, but we never store that information. Okay, key things to note. When will Clean Update be available? Well, we're very excited about this, and the customer success team are going to send out an announcement very, very soon with download links and instructions on how this should be used and how it should be installed. Will we keep the manual method of delivery, really clean update is the future. This is what we're striving for. We have tested this on many different types of platforms, Linux, Windows, and we're very, very confident with what we have. But obviously, there may be one or two configurations that we haven't foreseen. And as a result, we will be maintaining the manual method for a limited period of time. Do we need multiple licenses? Again, as I explained, a single license is sufficient when you have a dev, a test, and a production environment. Yeah, a single license is enough for that. Okay. What are we going to cover in the demo today? Okay, we're going to use the Clean Update utility to register your license key. We're going to use your setup, or once the setup is done, we can use that to view the products or the packages that you're entitled to. We're going to perform an install. The term install in this case here, it's something we need to execute the first time because it's going to set up the registry process. Can it work on an environment that already has clean address? Yes, it can. But we need to make sure that the settings that we set up for a clean update match what you have, and then it should automatically overwrite the files and the data files. We're going to be performing an install today on a clean environment. So what we'll be doing is there is one extra action that we need to perform for a clean install. So I'll just take you through that. Then I'll show you how to run an update. And following on to showing how to run the update, I'll also show how we can schedule an update in cron. And finally, I'm going to show a log file that gets generated and will be used by support in order to help when problems arise. Okay, let me bring you over to the terminal session. Okay. So here we are. We're on a clean environment. Nothing has been installed up till now. I wanted to just highlight the downloads folder. So the downloads folder is where we're storing the packages before we install them. In this case here, you can see the clean address DPV is in this folder. It's 1.6 gigabytes in size. So I'm going to use this as a test case to show the smart cache that we have when we go to run the install. Okay, so let's just go into the clean update. So when you receive the information from our customer success team, they will give you instructions to download the clean update. So part of the clean update, you'll get the clean update utility here. You'll get a PostScript, a prescript bash, and this is the license file that we expect our customers to have requested. Okay, so this is really important that you request the license file, and this will get sent to you. So let's run the clean update. So the first time you run it, what we're going to do is we're going to set up the environment. So in this case here, we're setting up a new environment or app settings file. So let's proceed with this. Now it's asking me to enter the license key or the path to the license key. So in this case here, it's in our current working directory. So we just put that in and click enter. So it now reads the license file and then validates that with our server. At the same time, it's also returning. So based on the license itself, it's sending back whether this is going to entitle you to software on a Linux platform or a Windows platform. So here you can see clearly this license key is for Linux 64-bit platforms. Okay, so at this point, I think we're ready to proceed. So let's continue. Again, the first thing it's doing is it's asking for the install location. So in this case here, this is for the binaries. This would be the equivalent of your clean address home or the environment variable with the clean address home. Now we're prompted for the location of the data files. At this point, it's asking whether we want to perform a backup in advance of installing or updating. For the sake of this demo, I'm going to say no. Would you like the system to automatically install your updates? Again, it depends on your environment and whether you want to do it in an automatic way or whether you want to manually install them afterwards. In our case, what we'll do is we'll say no, and then we'll force the installation after. So that's it. We now have our environment set up. And at the end, it's providing extra instructions on what the clean update utility can do. So the first thing we'll do is we're going to run this command, which is going to list off our entitled products. So we run this, it's communicating with our server, and again, it's returning the list of products that this license is entitled to. Right, with that in hand, let's go and perform the install. So in this case here, the install is interactive. We need to make sure that everything is correct for the first install, but after that, the updates can either be interactive or in silent mode, but we'll come to that in a little bit. So in this case here, everything looks right. Let's proceed. So at this point, it's communicating with the server. It's realizing, okay, nothing has been installed on this server. It's now downloading all of the relevant files, and it's downloading them into the downloads folder. So we already have the clean address core. The clean address USPS file is about 400 megabytes in size, so it's going to take a little bit of time. And you can see here, we had previously downloaded the DPV file. As a result, it's found it in cache and it said, no, this is the right one. And it uses that one instead of re-downloading it. The pre and the postscript bash scripts that you saw earlier, these get executed just prior to installing and just after the installation is completed. What these files do is they will stop the clean address web service and the clean address daemon if they are running and restart them after. At this point, what you can see is we're now extracting the clean address core, the clean address USPS, and finally the DPV. So the DPV is about, as I said, 1.6 gigs zipped. So this is just going to take a little bit of time to complete. But at the same time, all of these files are being moved into the correct locations. Okay, this should be finished now. That's it. So you can see that the postscript has executed after, and this would normally start services. Okay, so let's have a look at our environment now. So you can see here, the environment is set up in the same way you would expect the current release to set everything up. So we have the bin folder, We have clean name, clean phone data, the data files folder. So all of this looks good. Now let me come to the post-install action. If we go into the binary folder, we have all of the binary files, perfect. But what we're missing are the .ini files. The .ini files are used to configure each of these applications. We have kept the INI files separate from the delivery that we make. And there's a reason for this. If we were overwriting an install that you currently had, we may have overwritten your INI files, and we wanted to avoid that. As a result, we've created a new folder called INI sample, and inside there we have the default INI files. During a clean install, we simply need to copy the INI files from that INI sample folder into your binary folder. So now if we take a look, you can see we have the INI files copied in here. Okay, let's have a look at running clean file. Okay, we run clean file. Yep, everything looks good. So we've processed everything. In this case here, you'll see this RBDI. Could not open the MD RBDI.dat file. If you remember back to our entitlements, we were entitled to USPS and DPV. We were not entitled to RBDI. The clean address or the clean file will only open it if it exists. And if it doesn't, it just disables that feature. So looking here, everything looks good. Perfect. Now let's move back into clean update. At this point, I wanted to quickly show you that clean update, if we list the installs, it will display what has been installed, obviously date timestamp, and the location that the product has been installed in. So this is giving you extra information as to what's going on. So let's now run clean update. Or let me rephrase that. What do we need to do in order to run an update? Well, it's as simple as just running the clean update utility with the update command. Again, this is running the clean update in interactive mode. It's asking you to validate the setup. Yeah, everything looks good. We'll continue. Okay, clearly we have just installed the latest versions of all of these. So it's checked on the server side and it says there's nothing new to deliver to you. That's it, great. Now, if you remember back, if we ran the clean update command as we are now, prior to all of this, when we install the environment, we said, would you like to automatically install the updates? And we said no. Okay, well, if we had run the clean update and there had been an update, it would have simply downloaded the file. It would not have installed it. So if we wanted to install that, we would run install as we do here. Again, that would have completed the cycle. And if we'd already downloaded the files, the smart cache would have recognized that the files already existed and would not have re-downloaded the files. So that's great. Now, what if we wanted to run this non-interactively? Okay, and that's what we would need if we were to run this in a scheduler. Well, we just need to put in the -- silent. And at this point, it completes the process. Okay, let me just bring you to the cron. Okay, so we're now going to put this into the cron, which is a scheduler on Linux. I've already commented this out, but this process here, it runs every minute of every single day. And the command that it's executing is, okay, cd into the clean update. And then from there, sorry, I'm going to move this out of the way. And then it's going to run the clean update, update, silent mode, and install the release. Okay, so if we leave that run, we can just have a look and make sure that that is now active. Yes, it's now active. So this is going to run every minute, checking, and if there is something, it will automatically install it. Okay, let's just have a look at log files. Okay, so in here, we have a log file. Every time you run clean update, it's going to put information into a file with the prefix clean update and the date. Rather than giving you a single file for every time it's run, we're merging a lot of that information into a single file per day. It means that at the end of the year, you've got 365, 366 files, and it's easy to go through those and just remove them. If you were to run this as I am every minute, the number of files that we would have would grow enormously, and then you run into problems of trying to remove these. Okay, let's take a look at the contents of the file. So in here, it's providing information which is going to be used mainly for support. If there are problems, this is the file that would need to be given to us. And you can see here, the cron has just kicked off and has sent a request looking for any updates. There are none, and it completes. So this log file is also a useful place to go and look to make sure things have happened. Okay, right, well, that's it from the demo point of view. I'll pass you back to Misty.
Awesome. So we are now going to go into our questions and answers. But first, I want to thank you, Ronan, for that excellent presentation on the Clean Update utility. Now, you guys have been submitting your questions via chat, and John has been answering a lot of those questions. So I'm going to go through. There were a couple that I know we did not speak to in the webinar, so I'm going to highlight those questions. If there is anyone that feels that their question still has not been answered via chat, by all means, resubmit that question and we'll ensure to get it answered live. So I'm going to go through our list of questions. And there was a question stating that the webinar is full. Yes, in the invite that we send out, it does say that the webinar will max at 100 participants. So once we reached 100, unfortunately, it didn't allow any other additional participants. But as John mentioned in the chat, the presentation and a recording will be available after the webinar. I will be sending out an instant replay to the customer base. And then we're also going to ensure that the presentation as well as the webinar is available in the knowledge base. Okay, and then there was a question relative to Banner 8. It says currently we are running 5.1. We are still running Banner 8 SSB. We are not running Banner 9 SSB. What do we do? Now, Clean Update is only relative to the data files. It's not relative to your integration. So you don't have to do any upgrades relative to that aspect. And Ronan, if you want to add any clarity to that, feel free to jump in.
Yeah, no, the Clean Update is really focused on the clean address core application and the data files. So the integrations is not covered at the moment in Clean Update.
Perfect, perfect. So I'm just scrolling down. I see that most of that question was answered. Give me one moment, guys. I'm just going through our question. Okay, I see that Robert put a question in the Q&A. We are still on Windows. Will this be the same for Windows?
Yes, it's exactly the same code base for both Windows and for Linux. The only difference would be instead of ./, it's going to be ./, but all the features that you have seen today will exist in Windows.
Perfect. Okay, Eric put a question in Q&A. Will be syncing the data tables of the integration be supported through the PostScripts?
I need to take a look into this and get back to you on that. Yeah, there are
Awesome.
things that we have or we are looking at, but for the moment there is no post-processing support other than what we have, which is starting and stopping the services. But yeah, it's something that we have thought of.
Perfect. And if you can also, you can send an email to support@runner.edu if you would like more detailed information on that, and we can look into that a little bit deeper for you, Eric. Okay, and so Rob asked, how do we tell what version we have currently installed? If you go into our knowledge base, there's actually an article that states how you can determine which version of Clean Address you're currently running. So if you type in which version of Clean Address into the search bar, you'll see that an article will populate for Unix or Windows. If you're unable to find that article, feel free to send an email to support@runner.edu asking the same question, and I will provide a hyperlink for you directly to the article. Okay, and I see we have another question here. If we have non-prod and prod on different servers, can we download on one and copy the files to the other without re-downloading?
That should work, yes. So it's a matter of copying the files across and then rerunning the process. Now, one thing you have to be careful of, and that is the time between downloading and test, copying the files across, and then running the job, the clean update process in prod. If in between we have a later version, prod is going to get the later version. So you've got to make sure that you're not waiting too long between what you download for the test environment is applied to production. So typically we're going to be releasing every month, every 2 months, depending on what your entitlements are.
Perfect. Randall asks, will we have another Zoom meeting, or will this recording be available? He wasn't able to get in at the beginning. Yes, we will make this recording available. We'll send it out. We'll do an instant replay to the customer base as well as post it in the knowledge base. And Jay, you had a question in the chat relative to what is the best way to ensure a Devon production server. I'm going to ask you to take that question and put it in the ticket that we have pending for you, if you don't mind, or you can send a ticket to, send an email to support@runner.edu and generate a new ticket. I would like for us to discuss that with you via our technical support analyst. Okay, Lori said, I am running version 5.1.4 right now. Will I need to manually update to 5.1.5 first and then install? Once done, will this also keep my version of Clean Address updated, or is that a separate process?
No, you can use the Clean Update to already update from 5.1.4 to 5.1.5. And then from that point onwards, you use the Clean Update command to always keep yourself at the latest version.
Perfect. Okay, and Trina said, we want our dev, test, and prod to use the same version. Can we download through Clean Update and manually update the files to all environments so we know we have the same version everywhere?
That is a possible route, but we would prefer that you use the Clean Update utility and just plan to have this done within a certain period of time. Again, with each release of Clean Address, we're improving things. So it's always best to be on the latest version of all of these.
Perfect. Will using the update command overwrite any local changes to our cron profile and or the INI files?
No. Again, the reason why we have the INI sample folder is to make sure that we're keeping the INI files as current as possible within the INI sample. For first time install, we're going to copy those INI files from the INI sample in to the bin folder, and then these get modified. So we never touch the INI files, even during an update itself.
Awesome.
And the second part of that was, so it was the INI files and?
Yes, the cron profile and or the INI files.
The cron profile, likewise, we don't modify that. That's only generated automatically the first time you run the install process.
Perfect, perfect. And so there's a question, will each of us get a separate email on how to download Clean Update, and will it return the 4 files, the Clean Update, the Clean Update.license, the PostScript, and Prescript? And will the license key be our own key? Yes, once Clean Update is available, Customer Success will send an announcement out to the complete customer base. So everyone that is on our distribution list to receive updates and announcements from us will receive notice. If you're not currently on our list, you can send an email to support@runneredq.com to ensure that you or any other team member who needs to receive that announcement is on the list to get updated. And Ronan, I'll let you answer the part of the question relative to will Clean Update return the 4 files, the Clean Update, the Clean Update.lic, the PostScript, and the Prescript, and will each license key be each organization's own key?
Yes. So we will package everything up so that you get all of the files relevant to your platform. So obviously for Windows, we're going to have one download link. For Linux, another download link, but those will include all of the files that you need to run Clean Update. The license file itself is something that you need to request from the support, from EDQ support. So they're going to send out to you your own specific license file. So this is not something we can include with the delivery of the Clean Update utility. It has to be separated. Perfect,
perfect. Let me see here. I see again that John is answering most of these questions. Okay, I see one here. Is the download location the home directory of Clean Adder or the directory we want to download to? We have a staging directory where we stage our downloads versus the home directory of Clean Address.
Okay, that's something, okay, no, it can be the home directory. That's where our preferred location is. It is possible to modify the environment file. So this is one called App Settings. You can go in there and you can change the download folder. However, we recommend that you keep it the way it is. That's our recommendation. There are, again, other alternative ways of doing it, especially on Linux. You can create soft links for the download to be located at a separate location. So there are workarounds to all of that. But it's a very good question, but our preference is still that you keep the structure that we have.
Awesome, awesome. And I don't see any other questions in the chat. I'll give a moment for anyone to get in any last minute questions. Nash, you made a comment. You said that initially it was reached capacity and then you were able to get in. We were maxed or capped at our 100 participant list, which we include in the announcement. But what happened is some participants dropped off, which allowed you to be able to get in after the fact. But the webinar is being recorded, and we are going to send it out to the customer base after we have it downloaded. And we'll also post it in the knowledge base for all to review at their leisure after the fact. Okay, Rhonda asks, will there be a demo for installing and updating on Windows?
That's something we can put together. Yeah, I think that's something we can definitely put together. So we've gone through the process here for Linux. We can do something similar for Windows.
Awesome. John just answered Ronald's question regarding how to request that license key, and you can reach out to the support portal or send an email to support@runner.edu, and that will automatically generate a ticket. And Robert asked, will the update work in a clustered environment?
I'm not too sure what he's saying there. So I think the best thing is for him to reach out to support and raise a ticket, and we can discuss that through a ticket.
Perfect. Okay, Robert, so send an email to support@runner.edu, and we can answer that in more detail for you. Perfect. Okay, and I don't see any last questions, so we'll give a couple more seconds to see if anyone has any last questions. Oh, I see one. Oh, Robert was just responding and saying he'll send that ticket. Going once, going twice. All right, guys, so if you don't have any more questions, we are going to let everyone go. We want to thank you all so much for your time today. And remember, if you guys have any questions afterwards, send an email to support@runner.edu. And don't worry, Scott, I'm not overwhelmed. We're excited. We're just as excited about cleanup update as you guys are.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
And Rhonda, yes, once the Windows update is available, I'll send out an announcement to the customer base. All right, everyone, have a great day.